The massive crystal chamber glowed with an eerie blue light. Inside, creatures from across the galaxy sat in a circle. Some looked like walking rocks. Others breathed poison gas through metal tubes. A few had skin that could melt steel just by touching it. This was the Deathworld Summit. Only the toughest species in the galaxy could attend. For 3,000 years, they had met on the most dangerous planets they could find. Today, they gathered on Kepler 442b, a world that killed most life forms just by existing. Overseer Threnke stood in the center. His 7 eyes moved slowly across the room. Each eye was the size of a dinner plate. His voice echoed through the chamber like grinding stone. "Fellow survivors," he began, "we have ruled the dangerous worlds for thousands of years. We have conquered planets that would destroy weaker species in seconds. But today we face a new question." The room fell silent. Even the Kraleks who lived inside active volcanoes stopped their constant rumbling. The Vorthak crystals dimmed their radiation glow. The gas-breathing Zephyrians held their toxic breath. "There is a new species," Threnke continued. "They call themselves humans. They come from a small planet in a quiet corner of space. Their world appears unordinary." Ambassador Veltar of the Vorthak stood up. His crystal body shot beams of deadly radiation in all directions. Other species moved away from him, but he paid no attention. "Ordinary?" Veltar's voice sounded like breaking glass. "Then why are we discussing them? This summit is for Deathworld species only. We do not waste time on soft creatures from garden worlds." "That is exactly why we must discuss them," Threnke replied. "These humans have done something strange. They have spread across their solar system. They live on worlds of ice and fire. They build cities in space where nothing should survive. They seem to enjoy danger." Commander Zixara of the Zephyrians released a cloud of poison gas. It was her way of laughing. "Enjoy danger? No species enjoys true danger. They probably play in safe environments and call it dangerous, like children pretending to be warriors." "Perhaps," said Threnke, "but their expansion rate is unusual. In just a few hundred years, they have colonized more hostile environments than most species attempt in millennia. The Galactic Council has been watching them." The massive Kralex delegate Morthak spoke next. His voice rumbled like an earthquake. Lava dripped from his mouth as he talked. "If they are truly dangerous, they should prove it. Invite them here. Let them try to survive on a real death world. When they die quickly, we can forget about them." Several species made sounds of agreement. The Vorthak crystals chimed like deadly wind chimes. The Zephyrians released more poison clouds. The Kralex rumbled with molten laughter. But Threnke raised one of his massive claws for silence. "There is more. We sent scouts to observe their homeworld. The reports are confusing." "Confusing how?" asked Veltar. "Their planet rates as Class 3 on our danger scale. Barely hostile. But the life forms there," Threnke paused. "The life forms are extremely aggressive. Their world contains creatures that inject deadly poison, plants that can kill with a touch, weather that destroys entire regions. Yet the humans live everywhere on this planet." "Impossible," growled Morthak. "No species can dominate a hostile world without being built for it. These humans must be much tougher than they appear." "That is what we must discover," Threnke said. "I propose we invite them to our next summit. Here, on Kepler 442b. If they are truly dangerous, they will accept. If they are soft garden worlders, they will make excuses and refuse." The chamber erupted in discussion. Some species thought it was a waste of time. Others were curious about these strange humans. A few were insulted that soft creatures might join their exclusive group. Finally, Veltar spoke for the majority. "Very well, send the invitation. But when these humans refuse or die trying, we never speak of them again." Threnke nodded his massive head. "Agreed, I will send the message today." The message traveled across space for weeks. It reached Earth's communication satellites and was forwarded to the Global Defense Council. The message was simple but clear. To the species known as humans, it read, "You are invited to attend the Deathworld Summit on Kepler 442b. This gathering is for species that have mastered survival on hostile worlds. The planet has 3 times Earth's gravity. The atmosphere will crush unprotected beings. Radiation levels will kill most life forms. Dangerous predators hunt constantly. Only the strongest species attempt to visit this world. If you believe you qualify, arrive in 6 months. Prove your worthiness." The message included coordinates and basic planetary data. It also included warnings about the extreme conditions. Most species required months of preparation and massive protective equipment just to land safely. President Chen Wei read the message 3 times in her office. Around the table sat Earth's top scientists, military leaders, and diplomats. Everyone looked puzzled. "Well," said Dr. Sarah Martinez, Earth's chief xenobiologist, "this is unexpected. Are they challenging us?" asked General Roberts. The tone seems almost insulting. "I think they're testing us," replied Ambassador Elena Vasquez. "This summit is clearly important to them. They want to see if we're tough enough to attend." Dr. Martinez pulled up the planetary data on her tablet. "Let me see. Gravity 3 times Earth normal. That's challenging but manageable. Atmospheric pressure." She paused. "Actually, this is similar to some of our deep ocean research stations." "The radiation?" asked President Chen. "Higher than Earth, but our Mars colonists deal with worse during solar storms. We have shielding technology." General Roberts studied the data. The native life forms look dangerous, but not more than what we've encountered on some colony worlds. "Remember the crystal bears on Europa? Those were worse. So we can handle the environment," said President Chen. "The question is, should we go?" "Absolutely," said Ambassador Vasquez immediately. "This could be our first contact with a major galactic alliance. The diplomatic value is enormous." "I agree," added Dr. Martinez. "The scientific opportunities alone make it worthwhile. Plus, it sounds like an interesting challenge." General Roberts nodded. "My people love a good challenge. We can have a team ready in 3 months." President Chen looked around the room. Everyone seemed eager to accept. "Very well. Send our response." The return message was even simpler than the invitation. It traveled back across space to Kepler 442b in just 3 words. "We'll be there." When the message reached the Deathworld summit, it caused confusion. Where were the questions about safety equipment? Where were the requests for environmental modifications? Where were the demands for emergency evacuation protocols? "They said yes," Threnke announced to the assembled species. "Just yes." "They clearly don't understand the danger," said Veltar. "When they arrive and see the conditions, they will beg to leave immediately." "Or die within minutes," added Morthak with molten laughter. But Threnke felt uneasy. Something about the simple human response bothered him. Most species asked hundreds of questions before visiting a death world. They wanted detailed environmental data. They demanded safety guarantees. They insisted on protective equipment. The humans had just said yes, as if visiting a death world was normal for them, as if they did it every day. Threnke decided to increase surveillance of the human homeworld. If these creatures were truly dangerous, he wanted to know before they arrived. The next 6 months would reveal the truth about humanity. He just wasn't prepared for what that truth would be. The weeks following the human acceptance buzzed with activity across the galaxy. News of the invitation spread through Deathworld species faster than a plasma storm. For the first time in centuries, someone new might join their exclusive group. On Vorthak Prime, Ambassador Veltar called an emergency council meeting. The crystal beings gathered in their radiation chamber, where temperatures could melt most metals. They pulsed with excited energy. "These humans accepted too quickly," Veltar announced. "No species accepts a Deathworld invitation without asking questions. They must be incredibly stupid or incredibly dangerous. Perhaps both," suggested Council Leader Thrixal. Her crystal body glowed brighter than the others. "Our scouts report that their homeworld shows signs of massive environmental damage. Wars, pollution, climate destruction. Maybe they are desperate to escape. Or maybe," added another council member, "they don't understand what a real death world is like. Their planet seems so mild that they have no concept of true danger." The Vorthak began making bets. Most wagered that the humans would last less than an hour on Kepler 442b. Some generous ones gave them a full day. Nobody bet on human survival beyond that. On the gas giant home of the Zephyrians, Commander Zixara floated through storms that would tear apart starships. She breathed methane and sulfur like other species breathed air. Her people lived in the most violent weather in the galaxy. "I have studied these humans," she told her flight squadron. "They come from a world with gentle breezes and light rain. They probably think our storm worlds are impossible to survive." Her Lieutenant Vorgas released a cloud of excited gases. "Should we prepare rescue equipment? When they crash, we might need to save them quickly." "Why bother?" Zixara replied. "Let them learn about real weather the hard way. Maybe it will teach other soft species not to waste our time." The Zephyrians started building viewing platforms in Kepler 442b's upper atmosphere. They wanted to watch the humans struggle with what they called baby storms. The Kralix had the most extreme reactions. These living rock creatures dwelt in the cores of active volcanoes. Their leader, Morthak the Mountain Breaker, gathered his clan in the deepest lava chamber. "Brothers and sisters," he rumbled, his voice causing small earthquakes. "These humans claim they can survive on our meeting world. But look at them." He projected images from their scouts. Humans walking on grassy fields. Humans swimming in cool water. Humans lying in the sun like lazy creatures. "They live in paradise," Morthak continued. "They know nothing of real hardship. When they feel true heat, true pressure, true danger, they will melt like ice cubes." The Kralix clan roared with laughter. Lava flowed from their mouths as they imagined humans trying to survive real conditions. They began planning a ceremony to honor the humans' brave but foolish attempt. Meanwhile, on Earth, preparations took a very different tone. Dr. Sarah Martinez stood in the Global Defense Council's briefing room. Around the table sat 50 people who would represent humanity at the summit. Scientists, diplomats, engineers, and military personnel from every continent. "All right, people," Dr. Martinez began, pulling up a holographic display of Kepler 442b. "Let's go over the environmental conditions one more time. Colonel Marcus Webb, the mission security chief, studied the data with professional interest. Gravity 3 times Earth normal. That's like working out with heavy weights constantly. Doable, but tiring. The atmospheric pressure?" asked Dr. Jennifer Liu, the team's geologist. "About what our deep-sea researchers work in," replied Dr. Martinez. "Comparable to 3 kilometers underwater. We'll need breathing assistance, but nothing too complex." Ambassador Vasquez reviewed the diplomatic protocols. "What about the radiation levels?" "Elevated, but manageable," said Dr. Martinez. "Similar to what our Mars colonists deal with during solar storms. Standard shielding should handle it." "Temperature ranges?" asked Commander Sarah Thompson from the Antarctic Research Division. "Hot during the day, cold at night. About like working in the Sahara Desert or Antarctic stations. We've got gear for that." Colonel Webb looked amused. "So basically it's like a camping trip to Australia during bushfire season?" "With 3 times the gravity and some radiation," Dr. Martinez confirmed. "Plus potentially hostile wildlife." Speaking of wildlife, Dr. Liu pulled up images of the native creatures. "These acid spitters look interesting. Reminds me of the modified creatures we dealt with during the Siberian incident." "Those were worse," Colonel Webb noted. "At least these ones can't camouflage perfectly." The team spent weeks in preparation, but their approach confused the alien observers. Instead of building massive protective suits, they packed lightweight gear. Instead of constructing armored vehicles, they brought hiking equipment. Instead of planning emergency evacuations, they scheduled recreational activities. Dr. Martinez led daily training sessions that looked suspiciously like normal Earth military exercises. The team practiced in hot deserts, cold mountains, and high-pressure underwater environments. To human eyes, it was thorough preparation. To alien observers, it looked like casual recreation. "Are they taking this seriously?" wondered Threnke as he watched surveillance footage of humans training by climbing mountains and swimming in rough seas. "Maybe this is how their species prepares for danger," suggested his aide. "Through play activities. Or maybe they really don't understand the danger," Threnke replied. "Look at them. They're laughing." Who laughs while preparing for a death world? The humans' equipment choices baffled the aliens even more. Where were the massive life support systems? The armored environmental suits? The emergency medical facilities? The backup escape vehicles? Instead, the humans packed what they called outdoor gear. Lightweight tents, portable cooking equipment, climbing tools, and scientific instruments. It looked more like vacation luggage than survival equipment. "They must have advanced technology," decided Veltar after reviewing the equipment lists. "These simple tools must be incredibly sophisticated. No species could survive a death world with actual camping gear." The Zephyrians came to a different conclusion. "They are bringing toys," Zixara declared. "They think our death world is so safe that they can treat it like a playground." The Kralix were simply offended. "They insult us," growled Morthak. "They pack for a picnic while visiting the most dangerous planet in our territory. When they realize their mistake, it will be too late." As the months passed, the alien observers noticed something else strange about human preparations. The team members seemed excited. They talked about the mission like it was an adventure rather than a survival test. They made jokes about the conditions. They even started planning recreational activities for after their official duties. "I want to get some good geological samples," Dr. Liu told her colleagues. "The volcanic activity looks fascinating." "I'm hoping to document the local wildlife," added Dr. Martinez. "Those acid spitters might have interesting biological adaptations. If we have time, maybe we can do some mountain climbing," suggested Colonel Webb. "That gravity will make it a real workout." To human ears, this was normal mission enthusiasm. To alien observers, it was proof that humans were either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. 3 weeks before departure, President Chen held a final briefing with the team. "Remember," she said, "this is humanity's first major diplomatic contact with a galactic alliance. Your behavior will shape how they see our entire species." "Understood, Madam President," replied Ambassador Vasquez. "We'll be professional and respectful. But also be yourselves," President Chen continued. "Show them what humans are capable of. Show them why we deserve a place in galactic society." "Yes, ma'am," the team replied in unison. As the human ship prepared for departure, alien surveillance reached a fever pitch. Every Deathworld species wanted to see how these strange creatures would handle real danger. Betting pools opened across multiple star systems. The odds strongly favored quick human failure. Most aliens expected the humans to beg for rescue within hours of landing. A few observers noted something troubling in the surveillance data. The humans showed no signs of fear, no anxiety, no second thoughts. They approached the mission with the same casual confidence they used for everything else. This bothered Overseer Threnke more than he cared to admit. In his long experience, only 2 types of species showed no fear of Deathworlds: those too stupid to understand danger, and those too dangerous to fear it. The question was, which type were the humans? He would find out soon enough. The human ship launched on schedule, carrying 50 representatives of their species toward what the galaxy considered one of the most lethal planets in known space. None of them seemed worried about it. The human ship Defiance dropped out of hyperspace exactly on schedule. No dramatic entrance, no weapons powered up, no emergency transmissions. Just a simple communication request for landing coordinates. In the orbital station above Kepler 442b, representatives from every Deathworld species watched the approaching vessel. The ship looked surprisingly normal, not heavily armored like Krellick's vessels, not surrounded by energy shields like Vorthak ships, not riding storm currents like Zephyrian craft. "It looks like a civilian transport," observed Veltar, his crystal body pulsing with confused radiation. "Perhaps they could not afford proper military escort," suggested Morthak. "Weak species often lack resources for adequate protection." Overseer Threnke studied the ship's approach with growing unease. Everything about it seemed wrong. The humans flew with relaxed precision. No panicked course corrections. No frantic communications about the dangerous environment. They approached Kepler 442b like tourists visiting a vacation resort. "Landing Bay 7 is clear for approach," Threnke transmitted. "Thank you," came the human reply. "We appreciate the hospitality." Landing in 12 minutes. The assembled aliens gathered in Landing Bay 7's observation deck. Safety barriers protected them from the bay's deadly atmosphere. Through reinforced windows, they watched the human ship settle gently onto the landing platform. "Now we see the truth," whispered Zixara. "When those doors open, they will be wearing massive protective suits, or they will die immediately." The landing bay pressurized. Atmospheric readings showed lethal levels of radiation and toxic gases. Gravity readings confirmed 3 times Earth normal. Temperature sensors registered conditions that would boil most organic fluids. The ship's doors opened. Ambassador Elena Vasquez stepped out first. She wore what looked like a modified hiking outfit, with a small breathing apparatus covering her mouth and nose. No environmental suit, no radiation shielding, no gravity compensators. Just normal clothes and a simple air filter. Behind her came 49 other humans, all dressed similarly. They moved with easy confidence despite the crushing gravity. They looked around the landing bay with obvious curiosity rather than fear. The silence in the observation deck was complete. Even the constantly rumbling Krallex made no sound. "Thank you for the invitation," Ambassador Vasquez said, her voice clear through the translation system. "We're honored to be here. The gravity feels wonderful after 6 months in space." Really gets the blood flowing. Dr. Sarah Martinez joined her, checking a small handheld device. Atmospheric readings are within expected parameters. The pressure feels like home during storm season. Colonel Marcus Webb stretched his arms above his head, working out space travel stiffness. Not bad. Reminds me of training in the Colorado mountains, but with better air density. Overseer Threnke found his voice first. You are not wearing protective equipment. Ambassador Vasquez looked down at her outfit, then back at the massive alien leader. Oh, we are. This breathing adapter filters the atmospheric toxins. The radiation badge monitors exposure levels. And these clothes are specially designed for high-gravity environments. Standard gear for Class 3 environments. Class 3? Veltar's voice cracked like breaking crystal. We rate this world as Class 9 on the Galactic Danger Scale. Dr. Martinez looked genuinely surprised. Really? Our classification system must be calibrated differently. We rated this as moderately challenging, somewhere between our Antarctic research stations and our deep ocean mining platforms. Deep ocean mining? Rumbled Morthak in disbelief. Sure, replied Dr. Martinez casually. We have permanent facilities 3 kilometers underwater. The pressure there is actually higher than here, though the radiation is lower. The humans began unpacking their equipment. Instead of massive survival gear, they pulled out what looked like camping supplies. Lightweight tents, portable computers, scientific instruments, and hiking packs. Are those recreational supplies? Asked Commander Zixara in shock. Mostly scientific equipment, answered Dr. Jennifer Liu, the team's geologist. Though we did bring some climbing gear in case we have free time. Colonel Webb mentioned wanting to test these gravity conditions on the local mountains. The mountains are filled with predators, warned Threnke. Excellent. Dr. Martinez perked up with obvious excitement. I'm hoping to document the local wildlife. The preliminary data suggests fascinating evolutionary adaptations. At that moment, as if summoned by her words, a pack of native acid spitters entered the landing bay. These creatures stood 2 meters tall with razor-sharp claws and the ability to spit acid that could melt through steel. They were among Kepler 442b's most feared predators. The alien observers prepared for panic. Surely now the humans would show their true nature. They would scream, run, or beg for rescue. Instead, Colonel Webb calmly stepped between the predators and his team. His hand rested on what appeared to be a simple sidearm, but he showed no fear. Dr. Martinez actually moved closer, pulling out a scanning device. Fascinating, she murmured, taking readings. The acid composition appears similar to what we find in Yellowstone's thermal features. Marcus, remember those modified bears we dealt with in the Siberian facility? These are definitely bigger, Webb replied conversationally. But the movement patterns are similar. Pack hunters, but they're being cautious, probably trying to figure out what we are. The acid spitters, sensing no fear from the humans, seemed confused. They circled for several minutes, then wandered away to find easier prey. You were not afraid, Threnke said in amazement. Why would we be afraid? Asked Dr. Martinez. They're beautiful creatures, perfectly adapted to their environment. The acid-spitting mechanism is particularly interesting. I'd love to study it further. They could have killed you, Veltar pointed out. Possibly, agreed Colonel Webb. But they seemed more curious than aggressive. We've learned to read predator behavior pretty well. When something actually wants to kill you, it doesn't waste time circling. The humans continued their casual conversation while setting up their equipment. They discussed the local geology, atmospheric conditions, and biological diversity with the enthusiasm of scientists on a field trip rather than survivors on a death world. What exactly is your homeworld like? Asked Delegate Zixara finally. The humans exchanged glances. Ambassador Vasquez answered carefully. Earth is diverse. We have many different environments. Some are more challenging than others. Challenging how? Pressed Morthak. Well, Dr. Liu began, we have regions with extreme temperatures. Some areas reach over 50 degrees Celsius regularly, while others drop below -50. The atmospheric pressure varies dramatically with altitude. We have storms that can level cities, earthquakes that reshape continents, and volcanic eruptions that can change global climate. That sounds manageable, Veltar admitted grudgingly. Then there's the biology, Dr. Martinez continued cheerfully. Our world is home to creatures that inject neurotoxins, carry deadly diseases, hunt in coordinated packs, or simply crush prey with raw physical power. We have plants that can kill you by contact and microorganisms that can end entire populations. The alien observers grew quieter with each detail. But surely, Threnke said slowly, your species evolved natural immunities to these threats? Not really, Ambassador Vasquez replied. We're actually quite fragile compared to most of Earth's life forms. Our skin tears easily, our bones break under pressure, and we can be killed by changes in temperature, atmosphere, or simple biological toxins. Then how do you survive? Demanded Morthak. Problem solving, answered Dr. Martinez simply. We adapt, we learn, we build tools, and we refuse to give up. When something tries to kill us, we figure out how to kill it back. When an environment is hostile, we find ways to make it work for us. Colonel Webb nodded. Plus, we're naturally curious. When we see something dangerous, our first instinct is to study it, understand it, and probably try to make friends with it. Make friends with predators? Zixara asked in disbelief. Sure, Dr. Martinez said. Some of our best friends started as things that wanted to eat us. Wolves, for example. Thousands of years ago, they were apex predators that hunted humans. Now they're our loyal companions. We call them dogs. You domesticated wolves? Veltar's crystal form flickered with amazement. Among other things, Dr. Liu added, we've domesticated or formed partnerships with hundreds of species. Many of them were originally dangerous to us. The humans finished setting up their base camp with efficient teamwork. Their equipment looked primitive compared to the aliens' advanced technology, but it functioned perfectly in the harsh conditions. If you'll excuse us, Ambassador Vasquez said politely, we'd like to rest before tomorrow's formal sessions. The journey was long, and we want to be fresh for our meetings. As the humans settled into their camp, the alien observers retreated to their protected facilities. The conversations that followed would continue for hours. They act like this is normal, Threnke said to his advisors. Maybe for them, it is, replied his chief scientist. Their homeworld may be more dangerous than we realized. Impossible, Veltar insisted. No species could evolve on a truly hostile world without developing natural defenses. Unless, suggested Morthak slowly, they developed something better than natural defenses. In the human camp, the team conducted their evening briefing with practiced efficiency. Initial contact, the formal sessions began at dawn in the Great Chamber, a massive cavern carved into Kepler 442b's largest mountain. The chamber's conditions would have killed most galactic species instantly. Radiation levels spiked dangerously. Atmospheric pressure crushed everything that wasn't properly reinforced. Temperature fluctuations could freeze or boil unprepared visitors within minutes. The established Deathworld species gathered in their usual positions. The Vorthax sat in their crystal formations, radiation bleeding from their bodies. The Zephyrians floated in bubbles of toxic gas. The Kraleks positioned themselves near natural lava flows, their rock bodies glowing with internal heat. Then the humans walked in. They wore the same simple gear as the day before. No additional protection, no environmental suits, no emergency life support. Ambassador Vasquez led the group with relaxed confidence, followed by her team of scientists and advisors. Good morning, she said pleasantly. Thank you for accommodating our schedule. We're looking forward to today's discussions. The humans took seats in the center of the chamber, where conditions were most severe. Dr. Martinez pulled out a notebook and pen, preparing to take notes like she was attending a university lecture. Colonel Webb scanned the room with professional interest, noting exits and defensive positions out of pure habit. Overseer Threnke struggled to focus on the agenda. The sight of humans sitting casually in conditions that required his people's most advanced protective equipment was deeply disturbing. Today we discussed territorial claims in the outer spiral, he began, his voice echoing through the chamber. Recent expansion by various species has created potential conflicts. What followed was a detailed negotiation session covering mining rights, colony boundaries, and trade routes. The topics were complex and politically sensitive. Normally, such discussions required complete attention from all participants, but the aliens found themselves watching, the humans instead of listening to the proceedings. Dr. Liu took geological readings with handheld instruments, studying the chamber's rock formations. Dr. Martinez documented the local microorganisms with obvious fascination. Dr. Kim, the team's atmospheric specialist, collected air samples while monitoring radiation levels. Are you conducting research during our diplomatic session? Asked Veltar, his crystal body pulsing with annoyance. Multitasking, Dr. Martinez replied apologetically. We're listening to the discussions, but this environment offers unique scientific opportunities. We don't want to waste them. This environment is designed to test survival, not provide entertainment, rumbled Morthak. Oh, we understand, Dr. Liu said cheerfully, but we've learned to work efficiently in challenging conditions. On Earth, we often combine diplomatic missions with scientific research. It maximizes productivity. The session continued, but tension grew with each passing hour. The humans participated in discussions with thoughtful input, while simultaneously conducting scientific studies. They showed no signs of strain from the environment. No fatigue from the crushing gravity. No distress from the radiation or atmospheric toxins. By midday, when the chamber's conditions reached their daily peak, most species required breaks to maintain life support systems. The humans suggested working through lunch. We brought energy bars, offered Colonel Webb. No need to interrupt the proceedings for our sake. During the afternoon break, the alien delegates gathered in their protected areas for emergency consultations. This is impossible, Veltar declared. No species maintains normal cognitive function under such environmental stress. They should be struggling just to stay conscious. Maybe their equipment is more advanced than it appears, suggested a Zephyrian technician. Those simple tools might contain sophisticated protection systems. I scanned their gear, replied a Kralex engineer. It's exactly what it appears to be. Basic camping equipment with minimal technological enhancement. Commander Zixara floated in agitation, releasing clouds of nervous gases. Then how are they functioning so well? They're taking notes, asking intelligent questions, and conducting research simultaneously. I can barely focus on the discussions. There's something else, added Threnke's aide. I've been monitoring their stress indicators. Heart rate, brain activity, muscular tension. They show the same patterns as someone attending a routine meeting in comfortable conditions. Impossible, Morthak growled. Our stress indicators are off the charts and we're built for this environment. When sessions resumed, Overseer Threnke decided to test the humans more directly. Ambassador Vasquez, he said, your species is new to galactic politics. Perhaps you could share more about your homeworld's environment. It would help us understand your people's capabilities. Ambassador Vasquez exchanged glances with her team before responding. Certainly. As I mentioned yesterday, Earth has diverse environments. Perhaps Dr. Martinez could provide more technical details. Dr. Martinez stood up, clearly comfortable with public speaking. Earth is what we call a Class 3 environment on our scale. That means moderately challenging but manageable with proper preparation. What makes it challenging? Asked Veltar. Several factors, Dr. Martinez began. Our weather systems are quite dynamic. We have rotating storms called hurricanes that can reach wind speeds of 300 kilometers per hour. These storms cover areas larger than some small moons and can destroy entire cities. The alien delegates grew attentive. 300 kilometers per hour was faster than many spacecraft. We also have tornadoes, Dr. Martinez continued. These are smaller but more intense rotating columns of air. They can reach speeds of 500 kilometers per hour and tear apart anything in their path. 500? Zixara repeated in shock. Even Zephyrian storm riders respected winds that fast. Then there's lightning, Dr. Liu added helpfully. Electrical discharges during storms can reach temperatures of 30,000 degrees Celsius. That's hotter than most stellar surfaces. Morthak shifted uncomfortably. Even Kralex, who lived in lava, respected temperatures that extreme. Our geological activity is also notable. Dr. Kim joined the presentation. We have earthquakes that can reshape entire continents, volcanic eruptions that change global climate patterns, tsunamis that cross entire oceans at 800 kilometers per hour. But surely these events are rare, suggested Threnke. Not really, Dr. Martinez replied. Earthquakes happen daily somewhere on our planet. We have over 1,500 active volcanoes. Major storms occur seasonally in most regions. Lightning strikes our planet about 100 times per second. The chamber fell silent except for the natural sounds of the hostile environment. And your species lives everywhere on this planet? Asked Veltar quietly. Pretty much, confirmed Ambassador Vasquez. We have permanent settlements on every continent, including our polar regions where temperatures drop below -60 degrees Celsius. We live in deserts where daytime temperatures exceed 50 degrees. We build cities along coastlines that regularly experience major storms. What about the biological threats you mentioned? Pressed Zixara, Dr. Martinez brightened noticeably. Oh, that's my specialty. Earth hosts an incredible diversity of life forms, many of which are quite dangerous. She pulled up images on her tablet. These are some of our larger predators. We have bears that can weigh 800 kilograms and run 60 kilometers per hour. Big cats that can leap 12 meters horizontally. Crocodiles that haven't evolved in millions of years because they're already perfect killing machines. The images showed creatures that looked disturbingly effective at killing. Then we have our venomous species, Dr. Martinez continued enthusiastically. Snakes that can kill with a single bite. Spiders whose venom causes tissue death. Jellyfish that can stop your heart in minutes. Octopi that inject neurotoxins. Octopi, asked Morthak. Aquatic creatures with 8 arms and problem-solving intelligence, Dr. Martinez explained. Some are venomous. Others can camouflage perfectly and squeeze through any opening larger than their beak. They have beaks? Sharp ones. They can bite through steel cables. The presentation continued for another hour. With each detail, the alien delegates grew more disturbed. Earth sounded less like a garden world and more like a nightmare planet designed specifically to kill its inhabitants. But how do you survive? Threnke finally asked the question everyone was thinking. Adaptation and stubbornness, mostly, replied Colonel Webb. When something tries to kill us, we learn to kill it back. When an environment is hostile, we find ways to thrive in it anyway. Take our oceans, Dr. Kim added. They cover 70% of our planet's surface and contain predators, toxins, crushing pressures, and temperature extremes that would kill most land animals. So we learn to swim, then to dive, then to build submarines and underwater cities. Or our mountains, continued Dr. Liu. Many are tall enough that the atmosphere becomes too thin to breathe, and weather conditions can kill unprepared climbers in minutes, so we learn to climb them anyway. Now we use them for recreation. Recreation? Veltar's voice cracked. Mountain climbing is a popular hobby, Dr. Martinez confirmed. We also enjoy activities like skydiving, where we jump from aircraft and fall through the atmosphere for fun. Or surfing, where we ride ocean waves that could easel. The final day of the summit brought the traditional Deathworld challenge. For 3,000 years, this ritual had tested the limits of survival among the galaxy's most resilient species. The challenge took place in Kepler 442b's most hostile region, where even the established Deathworld species required their best technology to survive. The burning wastes stretched across the planet's largest continent. Volcanic activity created constant earthquakes. Acid rain fell from toxic clouds. Radiation levels peaked at lethal doses. Native predators hunted in coordinated packs. Temperatures swung from freezing to boiling within hours. Traditionally, each species brought their most advanced survival equipment. Armored vehicles, mobile life support systems, emergency evacuation shuttles, and teams of technical specialists. The challenge lasted 24 hours. Success meant survival. Failure usually meant death. Overseer Threnke stood before the assembled delegates in the challenge briefing chamber. His 7 eyes surveyed the humans with growing unease. After 3 days of revelations about Earth's hostile environment, he no longer knew what to expect from these strange creatures. The Deathworld challenge begins at dawn, he announced. Each species will demonstrate their mastery of hostile environment survival. You have 6 hours to prepare equipment and personnel. The established species immediately began their preparations. The Vorthak powered up crystalline shield generators. The Zephyrians inflated atmospheric protection bubbles. The Kraleks activated molten armor systems. The humans gathered in their usual casual circle. All right, people, said Ambassador Vasquez. Standard wilderness survival protocols apply. Any questions? Dr. Martinez raised her hand. Can we bring research equipment? This environment offers unique scientific opportunities. Within reason, replied Colonel Webb. Remember, we need to travel light and fast. What about climbing gear? Asked Dr. Liu. Some of those volcanic formations look challenging. Good idea, agreed Colonel Webb. The team was hoping for some recreational climbing. Anyway, the alien observers watched in growing amazement as the humans packed for the challenge. Instead of survival equipment, they loaded hiking backpacks. Instead of emergency rations, they brought trail mix and energy bars. Instead of communication arrays, they carried simple radio sets. Are those camping supplies? Asked Veltar in disbelief. Wilderness gear, corrected Dr. Martinez. Standard equipment for outdoor expeditions on Earth. But this is the most dangerous region on the Planet, protested Zixara. We understand, replied Ambassador Vasquez. We've reviewed the environmental data. It's challenging, but not beyond our capabilities. Challenging, rumbled Morthak. This region requires our most advanced technology to survive. We bring armored vehicles and mobile fortresses. Dr. Kim looked up from her equipment check. Really? The conditions seem manageable with proper clothing and hydration, similar to what our researchers face in Death Valley during summer, but with more interesting geology. Death Valley, Francie asked, though he dreaded the answer. Desert region on Earth, Dr. Liu explained cheerfully. Surface temperatures can reach 57 degrees Celsius. We run marathons there for sport. The humans finished their preparations in less than an hour. Their entire survival kit fit into standard hiking backpacks. They gathered at the challenge starting point wearing the same simple gear they had used throughout the summit. Ready when you are, announced Colonel Webb. The other species stared at them. Where were the protective suits? The life support systems? The emergency equipment? You cannot be serious, Veltar said finally. This challenge has killed members of established Deathworld species. You're bringing hiking equipment, plus scientific instruments, added Dr. Martinez helpfully, and some recreational gear. Colonel Webb mentioned wanting to test this gravity for rock climbing. Rock climbing? Morthak's voice caused a small earthquake. In the burning wastes? If we have time after our survival demonstration, confirmed Webb. The volcanic formations look technically challenging. Good training for our people. Dawn arrived with the characteristic violence of Kepler 442b's weather systems. Acid storms lashed the starting area. Radiation levels spiked dangerously. The ground shook with seismic activity. Temperatures began their deadly fluctuation cycle. The established Deathworld species deployed their survival technology. Massive vehicles rumbled across the landscape, protected by energy shields and armor plating. Automated systems monitored every environmental factor. Emergency evacuation protocols stood ready. The humans shouldered their backpacks and started walking. Stay hydrated, called Dr. Martinez to her team, and remember to enjoy the scenery. This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. The alien observers watched through long-range sensors as the humans trekked across terrain that would challenge their best equipment. When acid rain began falling, the humans simply put on waterproof jackets. When radiation levels spiked, they moved to areas with natural shielding. When earthquakes struck, they rode them out like experienced surfers. They're treating it like a hiking trip, Zixara reported to her command ship. They just stopped to take photographs of a volcanic eruption. Photographs? Her commander replied. During a survival challenge? The eruption is particularly spectacular, came Dr. Liu's voice over the communication channel. We're documenting the mineral composition of the lava flows. Fascinating geological processes. The humans not only survived the first 12 hours, they thrived. Dr. Martinez collected biological samples from creatures that terrorized other species. Dr. Kim documented atmospheric phenomena that others considered lethal hazards. Dr. Liu mapped geological formations while avoiding lava flows with casual expertise. When a pack of acid spitters attacked the human group, Colonel Webb's team handled them with practiced efficiency. No panic, no emergency calls for help, just professional teamwork that suggested they dealt with such situations regularly. How are they doing that? Demanded Veltar, watching the humans navigate a region his people required full armor to enter. Experience, Threnke replied grimly. They're not struggling because they've faced worse. The revelation became complete when the humans requested permission to extend their challenge. We'd like to explore the northern volcanic region, Ambassador Vasquez transmitted. The geological activity is extraordinary. Our team thinks we can gather valuable scientific data. That region is off limits, Threnke replied quickly. Even we consider it too dangerous for the challenge. Really? Dr. Liu's voice carried obvious disappointment. The seismic readings suggest active magma chambers. It would be perfect for volcanic research. You want to study active volcanoes during a survival challenge? Asked Morthak in amazement. When else would we get the opportunity? Replied Dr. Martinez. This level of geological activity is rare. We don't want to waste it. The final insult came when the humans finished the 24-hour challenge ahead of schedule. While other species struggled to maintain life support systems, the humans had established a temporary research station. They documented 17 new species, mapped previously unknown geological formations, and conducted atmospheric studies. Challenge complete, Colonel Webb reported as the human team returned to base camp. Everyone accounted for, all objectives met. Outstanding training exercise. Training exercise? Threnke repeated weakly. Great workout in this gravity, Webb confirmed. The team feels refreshed and ready for more challenging environments. More challenging? Feltar's crystal body flickered with disbelief. We're always looking for good training environments, explained Ambassador Vasquez. This has been lovely, but we're hoping you might know of places that would actually test our people. The assembled Deathworld species stared at the humans in stunned silence. For 3 millennia, they had considered themselves the galaxy's ultimate survivors. They had built their entire identity around their ability to conquer hostile environments. Now they faced the truth that they weren't even close to the real champions of impossible worlds. What would you consider a real test? Asked Threnke, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know. The humans consulted among themselves quietly before Dr. Martinez answered. Maybe something with Class 8 or 9 environmental conditions? Extreme gravitational anomalies, multispectral radiation exposure, exotic atmospheric chemistry, aggressive native ecosystems. Something that would require our people to actually work for survival. Class 8 or 9, Morthak whispered. On your scale, Dr. Kim clarified helpfully. We'd love to find environments that rate Class 15 or higher on our system, but we haven't encountered anything that extreme yet. The silence stretched for several minutes. Finally, Overseer Threnke found his voice. I believe, he said carefully, we need to completely reconsider our understanding of Deathworld classifications, survival capabilities, and the nature of hostile environments. Happy to help, replied Ambassador Vasquez cheerfully. We could share our databases of challenging environments. Maybe set up some joint training exercises. We're always interested in meeting species that enjoy extreme conditions. As the human ship prepared for departure, the 3 Deathworld species faced an uncomfortable reality. They had spent millennia believing they were the apex survivors of the galaxy.